Ok, so hola. Hoy nosotros vamos a hablar de los pronombres de objeto indirecto. Y cuando hablamos de los pronombres de objeto indirecto, estamos hablando de, bueno, a quién o para quién una persona está completando una acción. Así primero, para empezar, es necesario recordar que un pronombre en general replaces un sustantivo, ¿ok? Y que el objeto indirecto también recibe la acción del verbo, pero que recibe esta acción indirectamente. Y también es importante saber que el objeto indirecto siempre va a ser una persona o un animal. ¿Ok? Y también, claro, que usamos los pronombres de objeto indirecto en inglés también. Y tenemos unos ejemplos aquí. ¿Ok? Y voy a usar inglés ahora un minuto. ¿Ok? So first things first, when we're dealing with indirect object pronouns, it's important to be aware that, when we're dealing with a question answer situation, in some cases, yes, you are going to see an indirect object that is, noun, like, to and then a noun, or to and then, or for and then a noun. So and a noun, like to the refugees in the first example here, or for the migrants in the last example here. However, it is quite common when we're dealing with indirect objects to have a question that utilizes an indirect object pronoun and for us to have to answer with another indirect object pronoun. We're not at that point in the game yet. Just like with direct object pronouns, early on, we're going to be dealing with just find and replace in sentences. So please keep that in mind as you look at that, or as you look at this, okay? So para los ejemplos, tenemos, did the government give visas to the refugees? Your indirect object in the original sentence is to the refugees. And so that's what we're going to replace in our answer. Yes, the government gave visas to them. To them being your indirect object pronoun. Now, the second example here gives an indirect object pronoun, or what would be an indirect object pronoun really, as your question, and then of course as your answer. So did Senora give a quiz to all of you being your indirect object in the original sentence, and that is of course a use of an indirect object pronoun, all of you all, etc., however you prefer to refer to it. And the answer being yes, she gave a quiz to us being your indirect object pronoun in the answer. And once again, right now we're in the land of find and replace. We're not quite at this point yet where you have to do that switcheroo with the indirect object pronouns in a question and answer situation. Did the women prepare food for the migrants? Yes, the women prepared food for them. For the migrants is your indirect object in your original question, and then for them is the indirect object pronoun replacing for the migrants in your answer. Para seguir, ahora es importante, saber los pronombres de objeto indirecto y, que ya lo sabes porque usamos los pronombres de objeto indirecto con el verbo gustar y con otros verbos similares. Pero técnicamente, las traducciones en inglés son los significados de estos pronombres. Así tenemos to or for me, me, to or for you, informal, te, to or for him, her, or you, le. Notice that there is not an item here. There's no it, because indirect object pronouns, once again, and you'll hear me repeat this a couple more times, can only be a person or an animal. To or for us, nos. To or for you all, only in Spain, is os. And to or for them or you all is les. Mientras seguimos, recuerda otra vez, el objeto indirecto o IO de una oración es la persona o el animal. A quién o para quién el sujeto completa una acción. So, siempre va a ser una persona o un animal y el objeto directo es la persona o el animal a quien o para quien el sujeto completa una acción. Si quieres encontrar el objeto indirecto de una acción, puedes preguntarte, you can ask yourself, ¿a quién o para quién el sujeto está haciendo algo? So you're typically going to look for a and then people, or para and then people. And it's typically, for your purposes, going to be towards the end of the sentence at this point in time. Ahora tenemos una comparación de inglés y español y van a ver que, bueno, típicamente ponemos los pronombres de objeto indirecto en al mismo lugar, ¿sí? Okay. Que usamos para los objetos directos. Okay. So empezamos con, en inglés, did the government give visas to the refugees? Dio el gobierno visados a los refugiados, so to the refugees, and a los refugiados being your indirect objects. Yes, the government gave visas to them. Sí, el gobierno les dio visados, so les is to them. And once again, before the conjugated verb. Second example, did señora give a quiz to all of you? Dio la señora una prueba a ustedes. Remember that ustedes is plural, all of you, you all. Yes, she gave a quiz to us. To us being your indirect object pronoun in your answer, and si la señora nos dio una prueba. Yes, this teacher gave a quiz to us. Now, be aware that this question certainly could be asked as an indirect object pronoun. It's not done here, but the question, did señora give a quiz to all of you? In Spanish, instead of a ustedes, I could certainly say, and it would be more grammatically correct to say, les dio la señora una prueba. However, for the sake of clarity in this specific example, I just went with a ustedes. Final example, did the women prepare food for the migrants? Prepararon las mujeres comida para los migrantes. For the migrants and para los migrantes being your indirect objects in the question. And in the answer, yes, the women prepared food for them. Sí, las mujeres les preparó comida. The women prepared food for them. Les meaning for them. Otra vez, es importante saber que típicamente usamos los pronombres de objeto indirecto en el contexto de una conversación, ¿sí? Para no repetirnos un montón, pero otra vez, por ahora, for now, vamos a encontrarlos, find the indirect objects y reemplazarlos, replace them with the appropriate indirect object pronoun. Y como los pronombres de objeto directo, puedes ponerlos antes del verbo conjugado de una oración que tiene un verbo, o adjuntado al final de un finitivo, so that's the AR, ER, IR form, o participio presente. Ahora, quiero que escribas o que teclees los últimos ejemplos antes de hacer la actividad de práctica en la página 3. Ejemplo A, un hombre enseñó el inglés básico a Kevin. A Kevin is your indirect object in your question. C, un hombre le enseñó el inglés básico. Yes, a man taught basic English to him. Le meaning to him. B, ayudaron los miembros del grupo beta a los niños. Did the members of the beta group help the children? Sí, los miembros del grupo beta les ayudaron. Yes, the members of the beta group helped them. So when it's ayudar, we always use indirect object pronouns as opposed to direct, even though we're translating it literally as them. We use this because typically if you're helping someone, you're providing them with something, you're giving something to them. So that's how it's always interpreted when we use this. Say, la madre de Kevin dio un abrazo a él. Did Kevin's mom give a hug to him? No, la madre de Kevin no le dio un abrazo. Él is your indirect object in the question, and le is your indirect object pronoun, replacing that in your answer. Completen la actividad en la página 3 y si tienen preguntas, podemos trabajar un poco juntos, ¿sí? Muchas gracias.